Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on European Confessions. The following story that you're going to be listening to, it comes from a translation of a message that I received, and the translation of that message, it reads like this. Hello, Brother Nashi, how are you? Can you please post my own story as hidden identity? I have come here because I have my own confession that I want to share with you. I do come from Mberengwa. You can call me teacher. I grew up in our village, and we were the poorest of the poor in that village. We had nothing at our homestead. We did not even have a donkey. If you want to see that you are poor in the village, when you can't even afford to have a donkey at your homestead, then you know that you are very poor. So what used to happen was that whenever my father or my mother would even buy a hen so that the hen can at least lay its eggs and we can get something out of it, unfortunately, that chicken will just die. Why? Later on, we were told that our grandfather, he was a man who was a farmer. So there is this other charm, if you know it, that is called DVC, in which you will wake up people in the village so that they can go and work in your fields when they are fast asleep. When they wake up, then they will see that they will be so tired because you would have used them throughout the night. That was the type of a charm that our grandfather was using. And then this charm, when he passed away, there was no one who could inherit that charm. So it started to do whatever that it wanted. And the curse was that there was nothing that could ever be brought into the homestead. Any livestock will die, or it will die before it could conceive, whether it is a goat, a cow, or what. So my mother and my father, they grew tired so much that they just stopped living. We were just surviving. My father was a small-time illegal gold panner, so he never went into the earth to mine for gold. But what he did was that he would go to pan for gold at this other river that is called Mwenezi. That is where he would go to. So at that time, whatever that he could get, he would sell it. My mother was just a poor man who would be working in her garden, barely even making enough so that we can have some food. We survived by doing some piece jobs in the village. And like many of my countrymen who left going to different SADC countries, I left home. It was in the year 2008, during the peak of the economic crisis, hoping to find work in South Africa. I was young and desperate, and I thought that I was escaping poverty. Not only was I escaping poverty, I won't mention his name, but one of my uncle, he was a famous war veteran, so he wanted to move with me around other villages so that we can beat up people. I was scared because on this other particular patrol, we had gone and we had taken this other man who was in support of the opposition party. We removed him from his homestead and we started beating him up until I ran away because I could not take it anymore. What they did was that they were pulling that poor man's tongue out using a pliers. It was the most horrific thing that I had ever witnessed. Even the way that the men were screaming, it was too horrific for me. They wanted him to tell us where he had hidden some of the posters that he was supposed to go around, and he was supposed to give people some pamphlets about his party that he was now supporting, in which he kept on saying that I don't have anything anymore. I gave it all to the people. They kept on beating him until I ran away. So that was the reason as well. I did not want to be part of that madness that happened in our country around 2008. So I came to South Africa. For 4 years, I was working in a mortuary in Johannesburg, and I saw things that haunt me to this very day, things that I should have never even thought of speaking to you about, because it is very bad, the things that I saw in that mortuary when I was working in South Africa. When I arrived in South Africa, I had no money, I had no plan. I slept at this other bus rank that is called Park Station for days. We would eat from the bins until I met this other guy whom I'll call Tindo. This guy, he was also working there, and he told me that there was another job that paid better. It was a mortuary job. I was hesitant at first, but I told myself that I had to go and do it. For he said, what kind of a man you are? When I said, death terrifies me, but hunger, he said, will terrify you even worse. And this place where you are staying, do you know that immigration, it will come and raid anytime? Do you have a passport? And I showed him my asylum. He laughed and he said, what is the meaning of that thing? It won't work when they will do a raid. So he introduced me to this other guy, and this guy, a South African, he owned a mortuary, but as for the wife, was a traditional healer. So he took me there, and then they said that they wanted someone to clean and assist with the bodies. So I took the job. The first thing that hit me was the smell. It is not something that you can ever get used to. There is something, a way that a human being will start to smell the moment that they die. Even if they are not yet decaying, there is this other smell to it. I don't know if you can get me, as well as those other chemicals that we were using to preserve the chemicals. So the smell, it is not nice at all. That was my job, to clean the floors as well as the fridges after the bodies get been removed, as well as to move the bodies from one place to another when I'll be requested to do so with the help of other people that I found already working there. But we were all foreign nationals, except for the lady at the reception and guys that made tombstones. Those that were at the front office, they were the ones that never touched the dead bodies. So for the first weeks when I was working there, it was your normal mortuary job. One day after closing time, the owner then called me into his office and he was like, teacher, my friend, you work very hard. You have strength, I can see. Are you ready to make real money? I said yes, because I was tired of earning peanuts. He took me to a locked back room in the mortuary. Inside, I saw something that was scary. I saw a table that had human body parts. I saw hearts, livers, tongues, as well as a human hand. Next to them, I saw a sangoma that was seated there. I felt like throwing up because of what the sangoma was doing. He had a grinder. He was busy grinding that small human hand. He said that, do not worry about all of these things. We are going to throw them away anyway. This is someone who was involved in an accident. So when we gathered the pieces, this man, he said he wants to use them. You know a tokoloshi, Mus? You know a tokoloshi? And I said, yes, I know a tokoloshi because we grew up reading this other novel that is called Mpos Sage. That is where I had a tokoloshi from when we were reading it at school. He said, no, not that. I mean a real tokoloshi. And that is where my business is really happening. This man, he saves lives and he also sells the tokoloshis to other people. One day you can even get one tokoloshi if you help us. So he told me what I was supposed to do in the event that a body comes in. We check it if it is from a car accident. If the victim has his body parts all over the place, that is when he said we can take one or two, but never to cut open the body of the person that would have been brought to the mortuary, okay, with the whole body parts intact, only those that would have died in accidents. So most people, they believe that anyone that is taken to the mortuary would have already died. That is not the truth. I witnessed people that were brought to that mortuary where I was working that were still alive, half alive. Most of the people, they end up dying in the mortuary. Accident victims, usually, they are not actually dead yet. Some that are declared dead on the scene. Some of them, I think it is sort of like a coma. I don't know because I'm not a doctor. But what I know is that I saw people waking up. And when I say I saw people waking up, it's not like waking up, yeah, I am alive. No, the person will start to breathe silently, so much that you can see that this person is breathing. What am I supposed to do? So my boss told me that if it ever happens like that, in the event, if it happens, I tell him, then he can come to the mortuary. The first time when it happened, I nearly ran away. It was a young man who had died. So this man, he was brought in as declared dead on the scene. A few hours later, I was still waiting for the body to go into the cold storage. He suddenly started gasping for air. I screamed. I had never seen such a thing in my life that was different. This man, he was breathing. So I thought that it is a ghost. Then I screamed and said, Chipoko, Chipoko, Chipoko. And then that man, he came running and he said, teacher, man, teacher, what kind of a man are you? In this business, we deal with this sort of things. We serve the dead, not the living. He then took this syringe and then he just pumped into that man's neck. Within seconds, the man had stopped breathing and then it was quiet, and I was instructed to take him into the cold storage and left him there. I was shaking, and that was when he said, if we let them leave, we lose money. And at least if he has died, the family can pay for us. Do you think that I am running a charity organization? So there were people that would come to take the body parts, as well as the sangoma will not take just body parts. He would also harvest the spirits. They would come at midnight, and sometimes he would come holding a small bag, and then this bag would be filled with bones, herbs, and some blood, and they would place the bowls of blood near the bodies of which they wanted to have it, the spirits, and started to whisper, and they would be whispering some things that I could not understand, and some they would even cut the foreheads of the dead and letting the blood drip into the dead body, and then they will say, it is done. If a man dies suddenly, the sangoma will say his spirit will be confused and we have to trap it before it finds peace. So that is how they used to trap the spirits. So this man even said something that was too deep that I could not understand. Even right now, it is still hard for me to understand. He would be like, at my tavern, for he owned a tavern in Joburg. Whenever we used to hear that there were things that were happening in the mortuary, some furniture being moved around, especially at night, he would start to say, you see, if he was around, these spirits of these people, they are now troubling me. You need to return back to the tavern. So I did not understand why he always said that whenever we would suspect that there is a ghost that is moving furniture at the mortuary. One night, that was when he said, you know, at my tavern, there are people that are not dead. Some of those people that we keep at our mortuary, after they would have died in accidents, some in shootings, those ones, they are still alive, especially those that are dying after they would have been murdered. They keep on waking up. Those are the people I always say and shout at them, go and drink your Mazen Gold and leave me in peace. You used to say, go and drink Mazen Gold whenever we would hear that there is a spirit or a ghost that is at the mortuary. So he told me that sometimes when you are at a tavern, it is not each and every person that you see there who is alive. Sometimes they are even the spirits of the dead. Those are some of the things that he told me. So by mistake, in 2012, I was deported back to my country due to lack of proper documentation. I returned back and, just like what my father used to do, kept on working as an illegal gold miner. As for now, I am working at Mazowe. I got married to a woman who is from Harare. So I am currently working here as a korokoza, in brackets, an illegal gold miner here in Mazowe. So when I came across your channel, I just said, let me send my own story to you. That is what happened to me when I was in South Africa. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by one of our brother. That was the translation of the message that was sent to me. Strange things indeed, they do happen in this world. Yo.